Greetings, all! Today, we'll be examining the uncommon water psychic type Pokemon Veluza, the Jettison Pokémon. Vicious to the extreme and more than capable of tearing through anything that gets in their way, Veluza are powerful predators that can more than use ruthless aggression to fight their way to the top of the food chain in any habitat.
Veluza have elongated ellipsoid bodies with tapered ends and a series of large pink fins that cover their bodies from tail to head and have a sharp edge to them for cutting. Their front is marked by a large mouth with razor-sharp teeth and red eyes, while the body further has a series of grooves along its form that mark where parts of its body can be removed without causing them direct harm. While Veluza are considered to be partial psychic types, their overall powers are rather limited, as the only psychic type attack they learn naturally is the Psycho Cut attack. Instead, much of their telepathic power goes straight into their prey detection capabilities, as they mainly use their powers to seek out potential prey, hunting them down through any type of aquatic environment by sensing the electrical activity in their brains, and no matter what the aquatic conditions may be for them. This is a consequence of their extremely vicious temperament and their need to constantly eat food in order to fuel the high metabolic functions. While they might not be very fast to act in battle, when these creatures pinpoint a potential prey item, they will strike with extreme agility, rocketing forward in the water in short bursts in order to spear the targets with the open mouth and razor-sharp teeth. These beasts, in that way, could be considered very similar to Basculin, although they tend to be so dangerous to be around that they rarely ever occupy the same territory. Aside from this, there isn't a great deal about these fish that makes them stand out as far as behavior goes, aside from the fact that they tend to be hated by fishermen for the damage they can cause to fishing nets when they blast through them and steal whatever might be caught inside of them.
However, beyond their aggressive personalities, these fish are also unique in that they have the capacity to actually jettison pieces of their own body in order to make themselves more effective predators, a potent and dangerous skill that is demonstrated in the signature filet away technique.
As it turns out, the real bodies of these beasts are rather bony and have little spare flesh to them, but they need extra flesh and meat to buffer against the attacks of others. However, if these beasts need to attack a particular fast-moving or powerful prey item, they can actually use a series of nerve signals from their brain to cause grooves in the body to expand through muscle movement, forcing pieces of their own flesh to jettison from their bodies. This has the effect of taking half of the maximum HP with it, but it also critically increases their attack, special attack, and speed stats in the process, about twice as much as normal, and further hones their mind and their psychic powers to make it impossible for almost any sort of prey to escape their clutches. Despite the seemingly great harm this process would cause them, thanks to their extremely aggressive feeding habits, these beasts are able to regenerate their lost flesh fairly quickly, and discarded meat is said to have a very mild but delicious flavor, so it works out for them in both the long and short runs. This in turn means that losing all that meat doesn't make them any less of a threat, as even at a type disadvantage, they can make good use of the technique to render them a far larger threat than normal, and in turn worth avoiding if at all possible.
This pairs well with their naturally aggressive natures and the tendency to attack with little thought at full force, granting them access to mold breakers their only base ability. Those specimens that possess sharper edges to their blade-like fins can also have access to sharpness as a hidden ability.
As far as their combat abilities are concerned though, these fish sadly seem to underperform in most areas and are vulnerable to attack in almost any state, but they at least have decent stamina and physical offensive power, their base HP and attack stats being above average for a fully evolved water and psychic type Pokemon, so they're certainly not without their merit in that context.
Jeez Louise, these fish can be a pain in the butt to get rid of, as while they might not seem that dangerous based on their base stats alone, they more than make up for the middling stats with incredible aggression and should never be taken lightly in the wild. I have to admit that it's both a bit nasty and extremely fascinating that they can actually jettison parts of their body just to make them more effective predators. As while it does place them in extreme danger, it also gives them a serious boost in power and mobility that can make the difference in a heated battle. Even so, I would not recommend taking control of these fish in very serious ways for most, as their aggression can easily be turned on the trainers to make them a massive sore spot. If you feel like giving these fish a try, just make sure that you can handle them at their worst, or they might just make a piercing argument about who controls who if things don't go well in a fight.
They might be a handful to control and a serious force to deal with on the opposing side, but Veluza can make for good partners if you know how to make the most of their odd physical traits. Their somewhat common presence in the waters of places like the Pouty region can in turn make them a common sight, and thus worth preparing for if you want to stand a chance against them and their unusual power.
Just do yourself a favor, and make sure that you keep careful watch over the water if you're in their territory, as there is little warning to be found once they lock onto a target before blasting forward and spearing right through whatever tasty morsel has found its way into the line of sight.
thank you for watching this video. It brings me great joy to be able to speak to you all in the world each and every time we meet like this, to explore the many different facets of both the world of Pokemon as we know it, and the world as we live it, through every adventure we have with Pokemon by our side. If you'd like to, please subscribe, ring the bell and all that jazz, to keep yourself updated on content uploads and other materials of the like. You can also follow me on Twitter if you'd like to know right away when something new is uploaded, and my written works, from which most of this is based on, can be found on DeviantArt. Links to both can be found in the description down below. Remember that the world of Pokemon is a place full of wonder and mystery, and you never know what to expect. So, stay vigilant, keep watch, and always be prepared for the unexpected. Until next time, trainers and friends of all sorts, have a wonderful time.